EV maker Rivian could be going public this fall with a valuation around $50 billion. In this video, I want to examine Rivian's products, give some progress updates, and also discuss potential future revenue estimates to determine if a $50 billion valuation seems realistic. I'm Jonathan, and welcome to Cleanerwatt. Bloomberg published an article on February 9th of this year, and in this article, they mentioned, according to their sources, that Rivian plans to go public as soon as September with a valuation of around $50 billion. This article went on to say that the potential valuation might change and the actual IPO date might push into 2022. However, according to their sources, Rivian has been speaking to bankers about its IPO plans. If you're familiar with the company Rivian, you've been following along with news related to the company, you know that they have not yet delivered any vehicles. However, deliveries should be starting soon, and so now I want to take just a moment to dive into each of the products that Rivian has and when they expect to deliver the first Rivian vehicles. The first product from Rivian is their R1T, their pickup truck. Deliveries of the launch edition are supposed to begin June of 2021, and those reservations are already full. However, if you order one right now, that's expected to be delivered around January of next year, 2022. The base model of the Rivian R1T is expected to get around 300 miles of range on a single charge, and you can upgrade to a bigger battery for an extra $10,000 and get around 400 miles of range. And it's always good to know that the Rivian R1T is not vaporware. They have been seen out testing in the real world. And Rivian tweeted out on February 26th this video showing the Rivian R1T being winter tested. The second product from Rivian is their R1S SUV. The deliveries of the launch edition R1S, which of course are already sold out, are expected to begin in August of 2021. However, if you order one right now, you can expect delivery sometime around January of 2022. Rivian recently tweeted this out with the CEO showing the fold flat seats in the R1S, just showing how much cargo room you'll have in this vehicle. The third product that Rivian has that's not talked about quite as much is, of course, the Amazon delivery van. According to this February 3rd article from Amazon, they have begun testing the Rivian EV delivery van in parts of Los Angeles, and at some point, they will have 100,000 of these custom electric delivery vans from Rivian on the road. So now that we've covered the basic product lineup of Rivian, and we've talked a little bit about when they expect to see these vehicles delivered, I'd like to now examine that $50 billion potential valuation. I want to talk about, is that too much? And is there a case to make for Rivian being worth $50 billion already? Now, just on a really basic level, when you compare this $50 billion valuation to other startup electric vehicle companies, you can see when you compare it to Lucid, Canoo, Fisker, Arcimoto, Workhorse, and Lordstown Motors, this $50 billion valuation is very rich in comparison. However, according to this Bloomberg article, with Rivian's most recent capital raise, that gave them a valuation of around $27.6 billion. So as you can see, private investors already believe that Rivian is worth over $27 billion, but are they worth $50 billion? In order to determine if this is somewhat realistic, we need to make some projections when it comes to how many deliveries that Rivian is going to see in the next several years, and also we need to determine the average selling price target of their vehicles. When you look at the Rivian lineup and you compare the price points of their vehicles, the average seems to be right around $75,000. So for our revenue comparisons, we're going to use an average selling price for Rivian's trucks and SUVs of around $75,000. When it comes to how many vehicles that Rivian's going to be able to produce and deliver the first several years, according to this Inside EVs article, according to their sources, there should be around 40,000 Rivian vehicles produced and delivered in the first full year. They're also targeting a future annual production capacity of around 300,000 vehicles. So the first full year for Rivian of deliveries would be 2022. So if they're able to deliver 40,000 units and have an average selling price of $75,000, that would equate to revenue roughly around $3 billion. At a $50 billion valuation and $3 billion of revenue in 2022, this would give Rivian a 16.7 revenue multiple. If they're able to deliver 80,000 vehicles in 2023, 120,000 vehicles in 2024, 150,000 vehicles in 2025, and at some point deliver 300,000 vehicles, you can see the different revenue multiples for each of those revenue estimates. So obviously when a company like Rivian hasn't delivered any vehicles yet, it's hard to really nail down a proper valuation. However, we can look at a company like Tesla and see the revenue multiple they're getting and have a little bit of a baseline for a very successful company, what that looks like. According to Yahoo Finance, the current revenue estimates for 2021 and 2022, according to different analysts, falls right around $48 billion for the revenue expected from Tesla in 2021 and around $63 billion of revenue in 2022. So with those numbers and Tesla's current valuation at the time of recording here was around $665 billion, that means based on what's expected from Tesla revenue-wise in 2021, that's giving them a revenue multiple of 13.9. If Tesla is able to reach $63 billion of revenue in 2022, that means they're currently trading at a 10.6 revenue multiple. When you do a side-by-side comparison of what's expected from Rivian and compare that revenue multiple to Tesla's 2022 current multiple that it's trading at, you can see that as Rivian gets over $6 billion of revenue, the revenue multiple starts becoming somewhat realistic when you compare it to Tesla. However, it's important to note that Rivian is not Tesla. Tesla is a very unique company, and traditionally, the margins in the auto manufacturer space are very low. Rivian is also not likely to be profitable for a while, and Tesla wasn't profitable for a while, but they currently are. Also, Rivian doesn't have full self-driving software or the potential to license out their software for additional revenue like Tesla does. And as far as I know, Rivian is nowhere near as vertically integrated as Tesla. For one example, Tesla is currently developing and manufacturing some of their own batteries to add to their battery supply. But with all that being said, Rivian does have a few benefits that will help this valuation make a lot more sense. Rivian will get ZEV credits like Tesla does, and Rivian's R1T and R1S will be eligible for the full US federal tax credit. They also have that order from Amazon for 100,000 delivery vans. Also, Ford is an investor, and a future collaboration between the two companies on a product seems likely. On top of all this, private investors have already invested in Rivian at a $27+ billion valuation. So in conclusion, overall, I think a case can be made for a $50 billion valuation for Rivian, especially as we move into the fall of 2021 and into 2022, if Rivian has started deliveries of their R1T truck and their R1S SUV, and it seems to be going well. Rivian is a very exciting company that could be very successful in an SUV and truck-heavy market, and I am definitely considering Rivian as a potential future investment opportunity depending on what happens in the coming months. What about you? Is Rivian a company that you would like to invest in? Let me know in the comments. I'd love to have a conversation with you, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on Rivian and a $50 billion potential valuation. Thank you so much for watching this video all the way through to the end. If you're not yet subscribed to this channel, please consider subscribing. And if you do subscribe, if you click the bell icon, YouTube will notify you when I put up new videos. Also, if you did like the video, please consider clicking the like button if you have not already, because it helps other people find the video as well. I also wanted to take a moment here at the end of the video to thank the Patreon supporters who support me every month and help make this content possible. A special thank you to my performance supporters and also to the other supporters on the screen. If you'd like to find out more about the Patreon community I've set up, I'll put a link in the description below. Thank you so much.